Раз, раз, раз. Сегодня нужно будет уйти пораньше, а хотя бы эпизодик Алана Вейка пройти хочется. Поэтому вот так. Так, насколько помню, остановились на начале третьего эпизода, где Алана и его друга Барри потравила официантка, которую захватила темная сущность. Сейчас за ними гонится полиция и во главе с некоторым агентом ФБР Стим Клауд. О, да. Да, полицейский, возглавляемый вспыльчивым агентом ФБР Найтингейлом, преследует Уэйка, боясь опоздать на встречу с похитителем жены. Он не может позволить себе остановок. Еще бы Алан бегал не как рахло. Да я и так толком бегать не умею. Не стоять. В этом в Beyond Two Souls был похожий эпизод, где она по лесу бежала от ФБРовцев. Периодичка.
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes.
Ее разбудили именно эти два старых деда, которые сидели в кафешке. Забавно. Ёкаламна. Ствола-то с фонариком нам даже не оставили.
This horror was everywhere I went, circling me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
Wait, are you seriously telling me that geek writer just took out my deputies? Are you kidding? I mean, have you seen this guy? He wears a tweed jacket. Over.
He's the guy we're chasing. If it's not him, who then? Bigfoot? Over.
I don't know yet, but I'm not in the habit of jumping to conclusions. That tends to come back and bite you in the ass. Out.
Ну, хоть волыну-то дайте. А то без волыны как-то грустно. Ой.
You on the ground. Hold it right there. There's nowhere to run. Freeze!
Э. И птичкой сбили вертолет.
This is James. Mulligan, Thornton, come in. Over.
Thornton here. James, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything. Why, they were... Hey, what you... Come on!
Sit down and give me that. James, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which, that Fed had a pretty distinctive whiff of Otis Scotch about him, if you know what I mean. Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in to take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over. Oh yeah, I bet he does. Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
Так, одну штуку задел, блин, зарядка телефона, и все остальное с полкой полетело по принципу домино.
I could see the lights at the radio station in the distance.
Ага. А там есть ночная радиостанция, где сидит тот чувак с парома. Дед.
I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine. Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without a light. The old generator conked out. I'd have to see if I could fix it and try again.
Тут такие фиксики, большой-большой секрет. Ни хрена себе, он ремонтник, блин. Просто при помощи лома, ёб твою мать. Волына. Волына и фонарик. Так, вот фонарик. Волына будет?
It took me a moment to recognize the flashbang grenades. They were an ideal weapon for my situation.
Team 1, come in. Over. Team 1, this is Sheriff Breaker. Report. Over. Team 2, come in. I need a report. Over. Come on, guys. Talk to me. Come in, please. Over.
Так. Так, гранаты это, конечно, хорошо, но их мало. Я как-то вот чувство безопасности они не приносят. Так, я немножко заблудился. Куда? Вот туда.
And here's another call. You're on KBFFM with Pat Maine.
It's Milt Peabody, Pat.
What's on your mind, Milt?
Well, I live near the trailer park, Pat, and there's a big ruckus going on over there.
Well, that's just up the road from me, too. What's going on, do you know?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of police cars there, lots of sirens, a helicopter buzzing around, and I think I heard some gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yes, sir, like from a missile. So can you find out what's going on? Because it's just next door and they're popping off guns there.
They're still shooting?
No, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. It sounds serious, Pat. I'm telling you, it don't sound like no party.
Well, I'm certainly going to give the station a call, Milt.
Okay.
You'll hear it here as soon as I hear from them.
Okay, thanks.
Страничек что-то маловато пока находится. Одна. Якорный бабай. Лише Лебик Чунгуса надо 2. Тут нет никаких секретиков там. О. Подожди, а нас бы эта дорога так или иначе к этой привела бы? К шахте. А нет, туда вот ведет вот это вот. То есть, ну, в принципе, можно обычно по дороге ходить. То есть нет смысла сворачивать прям в лес. Волк Лайт. Ходи на свету. Так, еще 2 гранаты всего осталось. Алло, я уже близко к радиостанции. А, блин, это большой чунгус, на него надо 2. У меня нет 2. И как я буду его убивать? А, никак. Окей.
I hope
Можно
Maine can find
его
me a car to get to
скипнуть.
the coal mine.
It's Lorna Miles.
Oh, hello, Lorna. What do you have for us?
Well, I just don't see why Scott's bothered with the trailer park.
What do you mean?
The sheriff should be helping us normal citizens instead of witches.
Well,
Let the trash sort themselves out. I'm sorry, but my granddaddy settled in Bright Falls in 1911.
well, thank you very much for that compassionate viewpoint, Lorna. Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in. Folks, I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run down, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt it.
Whoa. Everyone calm down. Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him. What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
I'll get you yet, even if it kills me. You hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
I had fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going. I'd have to lose the cops and find my own way to the mine.
Так, страничка.
Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you? Nightingale shook his arm free, marched out. His cheeks burned with rage and humiliation.
Так, фальшфейер это, конечно, хорошо, но нужно что-то, чем можно убивать мобов. А вот и убивательные снаряды. Так,
There was no sensible reason for the power company work lights to be here. It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use.
oh yeah. Oh no! Ну чё? Охрена она двузарядная. Так, в итоге профита от дробовика вышло никакого. Я вижу там страничку.
The bulldozer's engine roared to life. Mud and rocks flew as it fought for traction. It crashed through the concrete wall and landed heavily in the yard. If it were an animal, it would have shaken its head after the impact, fixed its eyes on me, and charged. Of course, it had no head, nor eyes. Shadows crawled on its form, twisting it into a monster. Then, it came for me.
Ну вот, спойлер, что в этой игре есть босс-бульдозер. Совершенно не просрал кучу боеприпасов.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. Keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me.
Так, там еще страничка.
Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say.
Хм. Интересно, поскольку как бы его по сути никто не вызывал, это если бы не сценарий, который Алан уже написал, то Найтингейл бы даже не участвовал бы в этом. То есть, ну кто его мог вызвать? Сара, да нет, это вообще не в ее интересах. Больше-то, в общем-то, и никто.
The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again.
Отпрянуть. Мне очень нравится. Отпрянуть. О. Кто так крипово тяжело дышит? А, это ты! Я сейчас немножко какнул. Какнул. В штанцы-то. Да, я довольно впечатлительный, но я говорю, мой стандарт хоррора в видеоиграх это первый Биошок криповый. Хотя в тот же первый Фир, например, он тоже как бы тоже довольно криповый, но я в него могу нормально играть. Он не давит на меня вот именно какой-то хоррорной херней. Ну да, я думаю, вот это вот дело в давящей атмосфере именно. Вот в Биошоке она есть, а в Фире ее нет. Я не успел отпрянуть. Так, вот раз надо точно успеть отпрянуть. А лучше вообще фаер зажечь сразу.
The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
Доджи... Да как так-то?
Sure, I hoped I could find a car
Там
from
столько говна, как от него уворачиваться? Олоу.
The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
Так, босс-труба, босс-труба. Да пошли вы нахер. Тачка, бочка.
I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me. As a teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Мощный фонарик — это тема. Это охеренная тема. Мощный фонарик — это очень круто. Мечи вылезли. Так. Да какого хрена? На свету ты можешь им навредить. Так, запас пайров. О, и телешоу, отлично.
We take the facts of our existence for granted, unaware that they are merely a thin veneer of desperate self-delusion, covering a vast cosmos of madness and horror. All too often, the stars are right. In Night Springs. Tonight's episode, a family occasion. Journalist Alvin Derlis' trip to study the local customs of an insular community in Night Springs has been less than successful. Until tonight.
Well, I'm glad you changed your minds about this. Ancient customs, local mythology. My editor loves this kind of stuff.
Well, Mr. Derlith, we don't want to feel like we're on exhibition, but you have demonstrated the seriousness of your intent.
Oh, I am serious. Really, just do your thing. I'll stay out of your way and observe.
Actually, I thought you could assist us. I'm afraid we are a man short. It would provide you with an intimate perspective.
Could I really?
Of course, Mr. Derlith.
Well, I guess that's the least I... What would I have to do?
Oh, here. Let me show you with a kiss.
What did you...
Oh, Mr. Derlith, you have well pleased Nixie Perka, the dweller in flesh. Your body shall host his 1,000 young, and all shall be glory. Shh, darling, be calm. Shh.
Alvin Derlith learned a harsh lesson. If you go looking for mythology, it may come looking for you. And such quests always bear fruit. In Night Springs.
Это было угарно. Мне понравилось. О, тетрадочка.
The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I fell toward the dark waters of the lake far below.
Так, я вижу тут очень много вот этих вот контейнеров пополнялок. Я бы не сказал, что это мне супер нравится. А, киллдозер. Киллдозер и чуваки. Отлично, отлично. Нет, 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 мистер Бульдозер. Не-не-не-не-не. Ай-яй. Ай-яй, мистер Бульдозер. Выжигайся, скотина. О, минус бульдозер. А, тачка. Подсвечивается точило.
I had never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine. The coal mine wasn't far now. Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning man will clutch at a straw.
Текс. Чего нет? Так, может на тачке, может дальше поехать? А то просто, ну что, тут парковаться и идти пешком, ну какое-то говно. Во!
Little by little, without realizing it, I'd come to believe that the story in the manuscript was coming true. The current of its narrative had taken me deeper and deeper into dark waters. Alice had been taken from me. Barry was probably in jail. I was a fugitive from the FBI. The whole world taken over by the Dark Presence was trying to destroy me. It all felt real, but it matched a textbook case of insanity.
Надо пробежаться, вдруг тут термосы всякие спрятаны. Вот, как говорят, тут, чтобы найти термос, надо думать как термос. Если бы я был термосом, я бы прятался где-нибудь там. А. А как туда идти? Не, ну я понимаю, конечно, что локации тут обычно небольшие, то есть противников небольшими группами, то есть высылают. Но можно же было, чтобы Алан мог бежать спринтом больше, чем он это делает. Радио.
This is Pat Main, and you're listening to KBF FM. Folks, I want to apologize for kind of abandoning you to that looping music track last night, but I was detained. You see, I encountered a big shot G-man with an itchy trigger finger who could use a lesson in manners and a boot in the ass. Not necessarily in that order either. Now, folks, I know I'm not being very informative here, and I apologize for that. I really should just keep quiet, but I'm just so peeved right now, because some people just shouldn't be carrying badges. I'm just glad that our Sheriff Breaker was there to straighten things out. And if someone I met last night is listening, let me just say, I'm sorry if my mouth got you in trouble. I'm pretty sure you're not the bad guy here. Godspeed, son. I hope you know what you're doing. Now, on a lighter note, I'll be talking to Dr. Nelson all morning. But first, a little music.
И как хорошо, что Алан является профессиональным автоугонщиком, может вскрыть любой автомобиль. Хотя, скорее всего, это же американская ебеня, поэтому двери они просто не закрывают и ключи оставляют в зажигании. То есть, кто ее стырит? Тут, я всех знаю, вот это вот Боб, Райан, доктор Джонсон, все вот эти вот здесь. Так, угольная шахта там, а это еще какая-то вышка. На вышке есть радио.
Welcome back to KBF FM. Hope you enjoyed that tune. Now, Doc, you were talking about life and finding that special someone, that soulmate.
Well, you were talking about that. I was saying I don't buy it.
Well, see, to me that's strange because I always pegged you as a hopeless romantic.
You got me there, Pat. But I think love's where you look for it. And you need to do a lot of looking, sure. But the idea that there's that one special person out there for you, and if you miss that chance, it's gone forever and you're forever incomplete. I mean, isn't that depressing? Or, heck, childish even? There's plenty of fish in the sea.
And apparently a fisherman has a fishing analogy for everything. But what you're saying, isn't that a little harsh?
Well, no. What I am saying is that your potential for finding that connection isn't limited to what's essentially a chance encounter. How is that harsh?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a nice thought, but let me say something personal here.
Okay.
Now, well, I don't disagree with you exactly, but I can't really fit that together with what I feel, what I felt for someone, because she was the one. She was. And I let her drift away from me. Maybe I didn't put in the work, I don't know, but, well, since then, and it was a long time ago, but since then there hasn't been anyone, not like her. And I'm not saying I dwell on her or haven't moved on. I like my life. I'm not living in the past, but I do miss the way she completed me.
You can't argue with the heart, Pat.
I'm sorry, folks. I had kind of a scary experience last night, and let's just say it's shaken a few things loose.
Так, следующая остановка. Еще один какой-то сарай. Страничка.
For Mott, spying on the writer on the ferry had been a disappointment. His boss had made Wake out to be something special, but Mott hadn't been impressed. He'd gotten a good long look at the wife, though, and he liked what he saw. Mott had fantasized about goading Wake into a fight, but it hadn't happened. Still, he'd get his chance to see if the writer had anything in him. He'd been promised as much.
Он типа такую мотивацию для похитителя написал. Прикольно. Ну, судя по всему, я уже очень много страниц пропустил. Ну и ладно, хотя бы сюжетно я нахожу, и на том спасибо. Хотелось бы, конечно, по максимуму, да.
I was early. I was supposed to meet the kidnapper at noon in the main building. The coal mine was quiet. It was a museum now.
Термос. Хотя люди жили здесь и раньше, настоящая история города началась с момента основания горнодобывающей компании Bright Falls и открытия угольной шахты в 1878 году. Хотя работа там была тяжелой и опасной, тем не менее она привлекала множество иммигрантов, в том числе немцев, поляков, итальянцев, финнов и шведов. Изначально прибыльная на протяжении 20 века шахта постепенно истощалась. Жилы были богаты, но труднодоступны, а из-за вулканической активности в регионе шахты стали особенно опасными.
With Nightingale gone and the night wind blowing in through the broken studio window, Maine stared at Sarah. The sheriff looked away. Maine's voice shook with barely controlled anger. That boy's doing more drinking than thinking. I hope you know what you're doing, Sarah. He's got a sickness in his eyes. You take my word for it. He wants Wake for a reason, and it's not for anything good.
По-моему, кто-то нашел страницу точно, в которой был указан агент Найтингейл, что его что-то должно убить, и кто-то ему позвонил, и он приехал, чтобы разобраться, что за херня. В 1970 году случилось извержение вулкана под озером Колдрон, и хотя оно было сравнительно слабым, большинство глубинных штреков обвалилось или были затоплены. Во время катастрофы погибло 32 шахтера, и горная добыча в районе Брайтфоллс полностью прекратилась. Теперь многие сохранившиеся сооружения охраняются законом как исторический памятник.